tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
All right, guys. You can make it big.
So big,
If
girl.
you guys don't know that song, that is the theme song to Troop Beverly Hills. And I know we keep talking about it on our after show. If you haven't seen that movie, watch it on Netflix because I'm sure you'll be a fan of it if you're a fan of this show, the AfterBuzz show for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm your host this week, Megan Stecher. With me,
Hello, everybody. I'm Christy Olson.
hi, Christy. So tonight we're talking about season 5, episode 7. We're already at the big number 7, Breaking Branches.
Literally.
Literally.
Branches were broken.
We will get to that. I'm a little like, as a tree hugger, it upset me. Let's start with tonight. Brandi's housewarming party kicked off the whole episode.
Yes.
And it was kind of hanging on from a couple of episodes now. Is Elisa going to show up to
We're all
Brandi's?
waiting with bated breath.
Yes, because I feel like Brandi's been talking about this for the whole season
Since
so
the
far.
premiere, yeah.
So it's finally the big housewarming party. She's a mess, all nervous in the bedroom. She's not ready on time, of course, telling all of her guests to get out of her bedroom and go mingle and be the hostess for her until she's ready.
Till her hair and makeup's done.
Obviously. So not too long into it, Lisa does show up.
Yeah, and what we discussed last week, we thought maybe she would do like a fashionably late thing. In the preview, it kind of looked like she was going to breeze in at the end, but she came right in the middle of everything.
She did. So she's wearing the fabulous Brian Atwood pumps that we were dying over. And was it last week or 2 weeks ago they premiered?
Last week.
How they just
$1,500.
fabulously showed up in her closet. So she shows up in those heels, and it was so fabulously edited that we could see nothing but those shoes stepping out of the limo.
And you knew exactly who was coming.
I thought it was they were kind of making it out to be, there was going to be some kind of a rumble or it wouldn't go so smoothly. But it basically did, except for Brandi saying, oh, she loves me. That's why she's here. She loves me. And Lisa immediately saying in front of everyone, no, she doesn't. What was your take on this whole
This
thing?
entire episode, this could be called the Real Housewives of Awkward Town. I think because there were so many moments in this episode that were just so like uncomfortable and weird just to watch. And many of them were between Brandi and Lisa. Brandi was just being so desperate. And Lisa, I think what Brandi clearly does not understand, that she hurt Lisa. Ken and Lisa are still healing from what she said about them and them feeling hurt and betrayed by her. She really doesn't seem to get that. She just thinks everybody should get over it.
Right. Well, it's very obvious that Brandi hasn't apologized. So it's weird to me that she's just assuming like, oh, well, she's around me because she forgives me and everything's fine now. Like, everything should be fine now. Do you feel like the same way? Like, there's a weird apology missing?
Well, yeah, and I think we saw at the end of the episode, Brandi still thinks she didn't do anything wrong. She still thinks that Lisa should be apologizing to her.
Right.
For being friends with Sheena, which Lisa has said numerous times. Sheena just works for her. They are not friends. She's the executive producer of the show that the girl stars in. I mean, just because they have to be together all the time or because it makes sense for her to be cast as a waiter at the Real Housewives parties does not mean that Lisa is out to like shove Sheena in her face all the time.
Good point.
And I don't think Lisa's going to apologize. And I'm pretty sure Brandi's not going to apologize.
I would say hold your breath, Brandi, because Lisa Vanderpump giving an apology doesn't happen very often.
Right.
A different Lisa that we could talk about is, I guess maybe it's pronounced Lisa.
Yes.
Lisa Gibbons was also a guest at this party. It almost was coming off a little like desperate to be in the shots to me.
A little bit like This Is a Bravo show, which is a sister network to NBC, which is the show that I'm going to be on now. She'll be appearing on Celebrity Apprentice, which starts this Sunday. And actually, I will be on the AfterBuzz panel for that, so make sure you come and check us out Sunday nights. Awesome. But I think Lisa was there to kind of get eyes on her. You know, Bravo's okay with that. NBC is their sister network.
Right. Well, I like that the synergy cross promotion thing going on. But it was funny to me that it felt like she was awkwardly sticking herself in the conversation, and there was like a weird like head move, kind of almost into the camera, like, oh, what are you girls talking? What happened?
I'm here too. Remember?
Yeah, it was a little awkward. I don't know if it was intentional or not. I thought it looked intentional. I don't know.
You know, I'm wondering if maybe now that Lisa Rinna and Eileen Davison have joined this crew, if all the other kind of B-listy, getting a little bit old, famous type women are saying like, hey, wait a minute, maybe that should be my next move. You know, they were all kind of unknowns when they started, but now there's this phenomenon of we're signing soap stars, and Lisa Rinna has been a very famous TV host, you know, and so maybe the Lisa Gibbons of the world are saying, maybe I need to get myself in on a little slice of that Real Housewives pie.
Yeah, and it was a topic tonight about staying relevant or being relevant. And I mean, maybe that is exactly what's going on there. It's starting to become so acceptable to be a part of these shows. It's no longer looked down upon as like, oh, only a commoner would do that. It's like, no, people are really reviving their careers through this. And making a lot of money. And it's part of being relevant or making yourself relevant once again. I thought it was funny that Lisa Rinna said, people, I'm too well known now. Well, first of all, tooting her own horn about I love being well known, and I love being whatever you call it, a celebrity or well known. And I hate that people say I'm too well known. What the hell is that? I worked my whole life to be well known. I mean, she has a point.
Yeah, and she wanted to acknowledge that she's worked hard to gain the fame, you know, and that she didn't want to just discard that now. You know, yeah, she's happy to be well known. She's worked darn hard for it.
Right. And she's an actress. She wants to kind of say, you know, hey, I can act too. I'm not just like the Jersey Shore type where I showed up on this reality show expecting to get rich. Like, I can act. I'm an actress. I'm just here to be relevant.
Rinna relevant.
Well, what did you think of her turn, I would say, guest hosting on Access Hollywood Live?
I loved that. I think Access Hollywood Live needs a little livening up. It's just my personal opinion. Yeah. And I love her on it, her just as a host. So relatable. And she's just so much fun. And it never, ever comes off with her as being fake.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the people watching out there maybe aren't TV hosts. Like, we are all aspiring hosts. And one thing is that people can be too hosty.
Yes.
You know, very rehearsed. And Lisa hasn't come across that way as a host or when she even is acting or as a star on this reality show. She just always seems so real. And that's what I like about her.
I agree. I think she's very herself. It's very like Kelly Ripa. It's very like, I'm just going to show up and be my cute self. And she's not too hosty. You're right.
Yeah. She's not trying too hard.
That's one of the critiques in this arena that we are in is telling someone they're too hosty.
Yeah, well, and speaking of criticisms, you actually were mentioning that a lot of people on the YouTube episode last week, the YouTube comments were dissing Lisa a little bit.
Hardcore.
We were very touched by seeing her with her parents, and they're ailing, and she was selling her home in her hometown, and it sounded like a lot of people actually were not feeling sorry for her.
Right. So I think it's a lot of people who are in her boat with having the ailing and aging parents, who were very vocal about feeling the opposite of sorry for her, in that they are the caretakers for their parents night and day. And there's no like, oh, I live in Beverly Hills and it's such a struggle to get home once a year to Oregon, is how they were taking it. They were saying things like, if I had the money that she does, I would go home all the time, or I would move my parents to me. And they just weren't at all. I think that it's a lot of people who, they have a point. I do see their point that it's a 24/7 daily struggle for them. And it's not this like, oh God, I went home, you know, every 6 months or once a year and this is really sad. But I don't know. We're obviously only seeing a few moments of her life that are edited, so who knows the whole story.
She in her blog really kind of wrote out the whole thing about her mom having the stroke and why her parents had chose to live in a assisted living facility and why they weren't at home. It seemed like maybe she wanted to respond to that criticism a little bit and explain herself a little bit. So check out their blogs on BravoTV.com.
BravoTV.com. Cast blogs, they're very good. Fill in a lot of holes or explain things that maybe you don't understand or are having a strong reaction to, I will say. Back to the other Lisa Vanderpump. Back at the party, Lisa's saying, well, I just wanted to come to wish you well. Did you think that's why she was really there, or was it something else?
Well, she does try to avoid drama, by all accounts. And she seemed to think that her not showing up would cause more drama. And she sounded when she explained that, it sounded like she was just sitting at home picturing all the other ladies there, sitting at the party talking about her. And she didn't want that to happen. And I think that was her main objective in going. And so what's she going to say when she gets there? Well, I wish you well. You know, if there's a cheesy run-of-the-mill, I don't really mean this line, it's I wish you well, right?
It's true. And it's also like one of those housewife things where that's the only nice thing you can say. You literally don't have one other nice thing to say. And it's kind of like, I'm dismissing you from my life. Like, it's the only nice thing you can say. Plus it means stay out of my face.
Well, and maybe that's as nice as Lisa can be at this time.
Yeah.
Like I said, she's obviously very hurt by Brandi. You know, and I think that was hard for her to even say that. You could tell.
Yeah, I do give her props for showing up. Absolutely. I do think Brandi's wrong. I think Lisa did come just to keep the peace and not have it be a thing. Like, you didn't come to my thing.
She's already heard about it for how many weeks? Now she doesn't want to have to hear about how she didn't come.
Well, what do you think about the fact, because a lot of the ladies keep making a big deal about Lisa Vanderpump not inviting them to things that are a big deal in her life. So a lot of them didn't get invited to the opening of Pump. And Lisa Rinna was the only one invited to the star on the Walk of Stars in Palm Springs. So what do you think is going on with Lisa and who she's selecting and why she's leaving a lot of people out?
I know the Pump opening in particular, that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. That was right after the last season really wrapped. So that's why Joyce was there, Joyce Giraud from last season. And I think that was the time when Lisa wasn't talking to anybody. She felt hurt by all the ladies. And so I'm not surprised that they weren't invited. And I'm surprised that Yolanda is so surprised, right?
It's weird. I think this is like the third or fourth time this season that Yolanda keeps bringing up, well, you didn't invite me. Well, you didn't invite me. Well, if we're supposed to be friends. So I'm not sure what the status of Lisa and Yolanda's relationship is. I think Yolanda thinks that they should be in a much better place than they are. She's
pushing it pretty hard.
And maybe Lisa Vanderpump's like, I have enough big fish to fry. I don't even have time for this super minor detail of like, Yolanda doesn't think we're perfect right now. Is that what you think is going on?
Well, and you being Lisa Vanderpump, you know that Yolanda's not going to start anything major.
Right.
You know, her asking Lisa kind of annoyingly 2 times, that's about as crazy as Yolanda's going to get.
And I think she genuinely means it rather than trying to stir the pot, which I think we said last week. That
she's offended.
Yeah. And she's like genuinely not trying to start anything because we were saying she's not an American. She's just to the point because she's European.
She's just honest like that.
Like the Euros. We're right. That's just our take on it.
Well, and someone else who showed up at Brandi's party was Adrienne.
Adrienne out of the blue. So do you think that they really buried the hatchet, or she was showing up like to get some publicity?
Yeah, I think Adrienne's trying to kind of get back in the mix a little bit. We knew that we were going to see her and Camille and Taylor a little bit again this season. Yeah, she's just got to keep her name out there. She's hawking vodka and all kinds of stuff.
Is that what she came with in her hand? Zing. Her own brand of vodka as like the housewarming gift?
Oh, possibly. Because that's what she does. The Zing vodka is like her big thing.
Okay. She had a bottle of something in her hand.
I mean, she's got to keep herself out there a little bit.
Yeah. I thought she looked fabulous, by the way.
Well, that's a given.
Great. She looks great. I mean, sometimes she looks like she's had a little too much done to me. I thought she looked great.
Yeah. Well, now that she's always got the super younger boyfriend, now she's really got to keep it tight.
She's a little more happy. So she's like, la, la, la. Maybe it's a little more natural, a little less Botox.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised that she didn't stick around and hang out with the ladies. So I don't know if that was a decision made by the crew or the producers to kind of get her out of there so they could have the main cast sit and talk.
Okay.
I was kind of expecting her to sit there and like rip on Lisa or, you know, kind of try to get into it a little bit.
Yeah, so they didn't even mention like really awkwardness with Adrienne and Lisa.
No.
That was all avoided. But it wasn't avoided for the white party. That was definitely talked about. Interesting, Bravo. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they wanted to keep the focus on Brandi and her boobs.
Oh my goodness.
How did you feel about her boobs hanging out? First of all, there was like nipple blurring. So it got so bad at one point of the night that her chest was actually showing.
Well, this is a whole new realm. I know this is something that has been the trend for quite a while. J-Lo started that, with that Versace dress. That was 2001 or something. Yeah. So this has been around for a while. And I have to tell you, I just went out and bought my first roll of boob tape like a couple days ago. First time bought an outfit that I would need that with. So I don't know. It makes me nervous.
It's a lot. I have to say her boobs looked fancy.
Well, they did look good. Yeah, that's for sure.
I would like my boobs to look that good when I'm her age.
Well, it draws a little bit of attention away from the face that has just been injected just way too much.
Yeah, there was a funny...
Her face looks painful.
It does. There was a funny tweet tonight. Let's see if I can bring it up really quick. About, she was making a big deal about Ken not wanting to look at her face. She was like, no, make eye contact, make eye contact.
She was.
And someone wrote, Ken... Oh God, I'm stalling.
The tweeters are the best.
Maybe, okay. So Grays7 said, maybe Ken did not make eye contact with Brandi because of her dress. So it's like, you know, he didn't want to be looking at the boobs, so he couldn't look. I don't know.
He didn't know where to look. Poor Ken, I'm sure.
I know. Well, he's like, she was saying like, Lisa's having like a physical reaction to like not wanting to do like the both kisses. Like I think Ken's the same because last week he was pulling away from her.
Yeah, they're a little. Ken's more disgusted with Brandi, I think, than Lisa
so too.
Is very hurt, and obviously Ken's hurt too. But I think he's disgusted.
He's over her.
So yeah.
He's not going back. Well, I was really like my jaw kind of fell open when Lisa said, I blame it on the parents, right, to Brandi's parents about Brandi's behavior or just naturally the way she is. I mean,
that was the best.
Lisa really always has some zingers that will cut you. And those was one of them. And I'm like, her parents took it like a champ. What do you think?
Oh, they did. I was surprised. That was one of those major awkward moments. I think I kind of held my breath a little bit. It was like, did she just? Oh, she did. She went there.
I know. And her mom had the sweetest like comeback, like, honestly, that's just who she is, and I love her anyway. Anybody's mom would say that about them, so that was nice.
Well, we've seen her dad hasn't been so happy with her behavior, and it seems like their relationship is doing well now. So that's good to hear.
That is good. Maybe it's more of a because she has her stuff together right now, like other relationships in her life are going better. And maybe that's why she keeps pressing this Lisa thing. It's like she just wants it to be settled. Even if they're not back to being besties, let's not have it hanging in the air.
Yeah, but then she always does something to screw it up all the time. You know?
Well, what did she describe herself at the party? She said, I'm sensitive and I'm irritable. Something in the way of like, I'll go off easily. It was like a word I can't remember. But that exactly does describe her. She's so sensitive that the littlest thing and she goes on
the attack.
And then it's a regretful situation.
Well, it looks like we're going to see her do that again next week with Eileen.
I can't.
Another jaw drop moment.
Let's get to that at the end.
We'll get there.
So Lisa Vanderpump invites everyone to a little tea party at her new place, Pump. It's for foster girls, and it gives them it's just like clean a couple items out of your closet that you don't need anymore, a couple dresses, and they can be for special events, maybe prom, maybe graduation, for these foster children. And she made sure to re-mention that her son Max was a foster child, so I was sweet remembering that, because it's like sometimes when you think she's becoming a bitter old woman, you remember like she's so charitable. She did adopt a child. Like it's just
she could so easily come across as cold and kind of hard-hearted, and there's always those things to remind us that she's not that way at all.
Yeah, maybe she's just sensitive, and that's where these biting comments come from. But that's much like Brandi. Just saying. Hashtag just saying.
Well, and Lisa's biting comments are always so like true and valid and intelligent. You know, if she would yell and scream, like Brandi, you'd never get the point. You know, you can't respect that. But she is always just so poised when she throws those zingers that you're like, dang, ow.
Yes. And usually sober.
Yeah.
Unlike Brandi.
Right. Although she didn't get as sloppy tonight as she kind of set it up for. She was making it sound like she was really going to go hardcore at her party.
And her parents were there. So I thought maybe that was a reason to keep it on the keep it a low-key level.
PG-13.
Yeah, keep it a nice, sweet housewarming party. So all the ladies do show up to Pump to the charity party. But Brandi, of course, uses this as her opportunity to want to extend the olive branch, very literally.
To make it all about her as usual.
This is what I'm upset about. She grabs a branch off of these beautiful 100-year-old olive trees at Pump, like literally looks like, and hands it to Lisa.
To a very horrified Lisa.
Who is a guest. I can't. I mean, what did you make of this move? Is this like desperate Brandi or Brandi trying to be funny and lighthearted to lighten the mood?
I wonder if that was a situation where the producers were like, hey, Brandi, why don't you grab that olive branch and extend it to Lisa? You know, does she come up with things that are just that creative on her own? I'm not so sure.
You have a good point.
Right?
I'm not going to lie. You have a really good point. Somehow, the begging continues. And Brandi offers to, shall we say, go down on a woman to Lisa Vanderpump.
Yes.
Which is, again, shocking for her as a proper British lady. I'm so sorry to the commenters who hate when we do the British accent, but I can't not do it. I do it in my real life all the time just for fun. Sorry.
I like it.
Oh, speaking of the commenters, we want to thank Kelly Plowman Morden on YouTube for explaining the whole, when we were so confused about the lady sitter caption last week for Kyle's assistant. You guys can go on there and read it yourself, but it's a lovely lengthy explanation of him being on a show called the Beverly Hills Nannies or Nannies of Beverly Hills, and the lady sitter title meaning an assistant to rich lady, blah, 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 blah. You can read it for yourself on YouTube. Go to last week's episode, please and thank you.
And leave a comment about how amazing we are while you're at it.
Yes, I was going to say that too. Okay. So Eileen is shocked at all this talk about, like, Brandi goes into the whole... First of all, Brandi invites Lisa to lunch, and Lisa gives her an I don't know, which basically I did think she was entertaining the idea, but it's really a no. How did you take her reaction?
I think it's a no. Well, I think it would be a real life no, but it's a reality TV yes, because they got to sit down and chat it out, you know?
Yeah,
if it weren't for the camera, she wouldn't bother, but
yeah, because we did get to see next week they are going to meet, so you're right.
Yeah.
So, well, she wants to think about it. So, anywho, Eileen is just shocked at the way these ladies behave and talk.
Another one who's trying to pretend like she hasn't watched the previous seasons of the show that she went to star on. Come on.
There were a few moments of that. So, later on in the evening, when they all go to dinner together and Lisa Vanderpump is not there, and she's pretending she has no idea what's going on with Brandi and Lisa, and why was it so awkward at the housewarming, and what was the whole weird thing with the olive branch, and I'm just trying to catch up. I mean,
go home and hit Hulu, honey.
Okay, so Eileen and Lisa Rinna were both in on this, pretending that they didn't know what was going on. Do you think they knew 100% what was going on?
For sure they do. Yeah, and Lisa Rinna is actually in the mix with these ladies. She's kind of in this group. She actually is a friend of Lisa Vanderpump's. So, yeah. And she did kind of make a mention of, like, other things that have happened with Lisa or with Kyle that Lisa Rinna did have previous
of them acting. And then, so everyone goes into their descriptions of their problems with Lisa, but everyone's trying to be so tight-lipped about it, except for Brandi. So Brandi brought up the whole Sheena thing again. And I kind of think, I mean, at this point, wasn't it more than that? I mean, is that all she's really blaming this on?
I think that's the only thing she has. she did a bunch of stuff wrong in her whole blow up with Lisa. She said some really horrible things and did some really terrible things. And that's the only thing she feels like she was actually right about. Like, that's the thing that Lisa did wrong. When Lisa, again, has explained so many times that, I mean, Sheena is part of Lisa's money making. You know what I mean? She's not going to get rid of her.
Right. I mean, she's a star in her spinoff. It's not like she's not going to be in her life. So.
Right. Yeah. And Brandi just needs to get over it.
I do understand Brandi being mad about Sheena being brought into different tapings that she's at. I do. But
again, that's a show thing. It's not a Lisa thing.
I'm going to say I'm not on either one of their sides. I'm kind of on Brandi's side about that, except I don't think that is what the main problem is. I don't. She's blaming everything wrong with the two of them on that. And I don't think that's what it is. Just saying.
Agreed. She wants to act like she didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah. Well, okay. So at the conclusion of everyone, Kyle was saying something about like, oh, any little step of like everyone actually coming to things is a good step. Like, we really didn't see anything with Kyle this week, huh? So she's telling her daughter, I guess her daughter's getting ready to go off to college, and she's telling her daughter, like, I have to teach you how to do laundry. I have to teach you how to cook. And I'm thinking, like, the girl is going to college and you didn't teach her yet how to do laundry?
Well, that's another tired storyline on this show, I kind of have to say. I'm sort of sick of watching them send their kids off to college, like... Maybe it's because I don't want to acknowledge, like, seeing the moms be so sad. I don't want to think about, doing that to your parents.
Yeah.
But I'm just, I've seen it enough. We get it. You empty nest and you're going to cry and boo-hoo. And then you all get together and cry about it. Like, I don't know. I can't relate, so.
It looks like next week that Kyle does her boo-hoo sit down with her daughter going off to school and tells her, please come home, in so many words. She's like, I want you to be happy. I know you'll be fine. I'll be fine. But if you're not happy, come home.
Yeah.
Ay.
Come home to Beverly Hills. It's not a bad deal.
Beverly Hills, what a thrill. Anywho, I just can't get over Eileen being shocked at the weight. Like, this is what, the second or third week in a row that she pretends to be shocked at what everyone's talking about?
Yeah.
Like, Eileen, get over it. You've watched the show.
Well, we're going to get her dirty little story next week, it looks like. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. Let's talk about this. I don't even care about getting to it later. We're talking about it now.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I'm too excited.
No, let's just talk about it now. Okay. So it looks like next week, Brandi throws a drink right in Eileen's face okay. So Eileen's telling the story of how she met her husband, and she says something about we were both so unhappy in our relationships because we knew we needed to be together. So Brandi's little quote from it was, I'm listening to her home wrecking story. And it's rubbing me the wrong way. And she throws a drink in her face. Now, is this the big blow up you think that's coming that we saw from the beginning of the season promo, or no?
Maybe. There's going to be a lot of drink throwing yet. There's that one. And then remember, Lisa, Rinna, and Kim are going to get into it.
Okay.
That was at the end of the spoilers for the season trailer.
Oh, maybe that's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's probably what you're thinking of. So there's going to be a lot of drink throwing yet. But yeah, this one with Eileen, I think Brandi really goes on the attack with her after this.
Wow. I just... It's so funny. These women have all the money in the world, and they're supposed to be from this like refined, well-to-do town, and they're throwing drinks in each other's faces.
Well, Brandi's trying to make it like she's this brand new woman who has her life together and doesn't have any drama and wants to be cool with everybody, and then she goes and throws a drink in someone's face.
It's awful.
It's kind of tired antics. Like,
it's weird. It's like I'm so used to the verbal all the verbal blow-ups, and there's a lot of finger pointing when they're fighting, and to actually see someone throw a drink in someone else's face, it actually really shocked me, and I was like, oh god, like things are actually getting physical. I know we've seen things get very physical on Atlanta Housewives, but to see in Beverly Hills a drink being thrown, it was like, whoa, ladies, like I don't know, I thought it was pretty major.
I can't wait to see that.
Things are going to go down next week. I just wanted to read one more tweet. I got a funny one about Yolanda not knowing how to say cunnilingus.
That was cute.
So at TV Tag, Real Housewives said, RH Wives. New rule: if Yolanda doesn't know a word, she has to look it up herself instead of repeating it a million times. Which has been getting on my nerves. Every week it's like, oh, the word of the week Yolanda doesn't know.
Yeah. It's cute though.
It is cute. It puts her in a cute light. Let's talk about Yolanda. I don't even care about getting to the next thing and the next thing. Let's just talk about Yolanda now.
She was cute with the ice bucket challenge.
That was cute.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird in that in her real life right now, she's really going through it with the Lyme's disease. I know we sent like a hello and get well soon to her last week, and I was shocked that I thought she had canceled her appearance for Watch What Happens Live because she was in the hospital. No, she left the hospital, got on an airplane, flew to New York, did Watch What Happens Live.
Like a champ.
And flew back to LA for Christmas.
Like a Beverly Hills trooper.
Like a champ. But it looks like she's really not doing well again.
Right.
So, Yolanda, we hope you are feeling better and get well soon.
I read a story today that implied her friends and family really are very worried about her. Yeah, so...
She posted on Instagram a picture of herself much younger, maybe in her 20s or early 30s, modeling. And it said, this reminds me of a time when I thought that health was just a given, or something to that effect, that everybody just has good health and you know, wow, I really took it for granted. So we wish you well, Yolanda. We know that she's very into having a healthy lifestyle. So it's kind of shocking that she's so ill, but
yeah, her daughters were able to spend the holiday with her in LA, from what I read, and she was very happy to have them home. And so hopefully she had a nice holiday anyway.
Hopefully. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
What do you got for us? I know you were digging through the internet today.
I was searching. Well, Eileen Davidson's high school yearbook photos have hit the internet. Yes, if you've been online in the last week, you definitely saw that nose. Check it out. Worth taking a little peek at.
So she's had a nose job.
Yes, although not a ton of
hasn't?
other work. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that that her photos weren't more different than her high school.
So she's aging well. Good
Yes.
for her.
Yeah.
Cheers.
What else? Oh, a little bit of update on Kingsley. You remember Kim's dog Kingsley?
Who has caused all kinds of trouble.
Yes. Well, apparently now the trainer that we saw working with Kingsley and Kim last season on the show says that he did have Kingsley for a while after the last bite attack, and returned him back to Kim and hasn't heard from her since and has not received payment from her. He said he's heard that the dog is with another trainer, but that it's very dangerous and those other trainers can't do anything with poor Kingsley. Also, he said that Bravo built Kim a $6,000 dog cage for her backyard.
Dang.
To keep the dog in during shooting. So apparently Kim will be getting sued in the new year by the dog trainer who didn't get paid. And I know, sad. I feel bad for the dog. It's not the dog's fault that Kim didn't bother to get it trained, and now the poor guy has really caused some damage and is aggressive. And I feel bad for Kingsley.
Bit Kyle's daughter.
Anywho, and speaking of health, we've talked a lot about Brandi and her family today. Her dad's health is actually getting better, she said.
Good.
He was recently not doing well, and he's doing good. A couple cute little funny things from last week's episode. Lisa was mad that Kyle said she holds a grudge. And Kyle was mad that Lisa said that Kyle should have congratulated her. Kyle said, well, you didn't tell any of us about the star or about the ceremony. You know, why should I congratulate you?
Oh, this is also petty.
I know, right? Well, and Kyle did also mention in her blog like that it is difficult to go back and see these things that were said 6 months ago because her and Lisa are on good terms right now.
Yeah.
I think that about wrapped it
Covers
up
all your
on the news
scoop.
and gossip. Yeah.
Good job. You did a lot for us this week. Good job, girl.
Oh, thanks.
Well, why don't we do predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay. My only prediction is that the Lisa and Brandi feud will not end next week, that it may get a little worse because neither one of them want to apologize. And Eileen gets a drink thrown at her face, and I don't know how bad it's going to get from there.
I bet you the lunch between Lisa and Brandi does end in one of them storming out.
Okay.
And let's not forget that Brandi slaps Lisa at some point in the rest of the season.
That's
We saw
right.
that in the trailer.
That's right.
So we know that things are just going further south with them too. With those two.
That looked like such a phony like soap opera slap to me. Like I don't know. It just seemed like it was too
Like it's a
gentle.
fake kidding thing.
Like it was too gentle. It was almost like a boop. Like if you were playing around with a friend. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think again, Brandi tries to pass everything off like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. You know, I can slap you, but don't worry."
I mean,
Didn't mean
Brandi needs to cool it with being physical. I'm really worried about her. So she's throwing a drink in Eileen's face. She's slapping Lisa. And who knows what they're holding on to that we haven't seen yet.
Right.
These are all things they're promoting. It gets worse, much worse. We're excited.
Well, as far as predictions go, I'm wondering, I'm loving Lisa Rinna so much. And it looks like she just really can do no wrong. I'm wondering if at any point we're going to see her portrayed in a negative light, or if we'll see her doing or saying anything that we don't care for. I mean,
Right. Well,
she's just so freaking lovable.
I do remember her screaming at one part in the season promo. It's during that big melee.
She's
where
screaming at Kim,
drinks
and
are
she's
flying.
saying,
And
"Don't ever talk about my husband."
or didn't she say, "Don't get near my husband"? Something to do with Harry Hamlin.
Kim implies that he has not been faithful, is what it is. And that's when Lisa goes down. I just read from what happened. Kim implies that, and then Lisa. This is after Kim apparently has maybe a relapse. They go on a trip,
God.
and the other ladies are concerned that maybe during the trip Kim is under the influence of something.
Oh boy.
So then Lisa's also screaming at Kim, you're an addict, shut your mouth. It's gonna get so crazy.
It's going to get so good. I know we've had some slower episodes that people aren't happy with. I'm liking it because it's going to be a build up. What we're having is we're meeting all the new people and it's going to get better. Yay! All right, guys. Happy New Year. That does it for us for 2014, and we can't wait to see you next week in 2015.
Yes, and tweet us in the meantime. I'm at Christy Reports. Love to hear from you.
And I am on Twitter and Instagram at Megan Stecher. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.